Is Buehler here yet? All right, Antonio Buehler's coming in here in a minute. We had a woman who was Yeah, I'm going to say something. I'm going to be nice. Someone called who is associated with this incident, saying, "Why are you having Antonio on? Why are you doing that? I love the show." And then they had some disparaging. See what I'm saying? I'm not so good at it. Some disparaging things to say about Mr. Buehler. The reason I'm having it on is I'm doing my job, which the Statesman thinks I'm
no longer doing. Former radio host.
Actor and former KLBJ morning host Dale Dudley will be on hand at the Bullock Museum tonight for talk radio.
They didn't say you got fired from radio. You've been moved to middays or afternoons, they think.
Do you think maybe they called the station to verify employment and they got a hold of someone in management and the guy in management is looking? He was 2 weeks ahead in his planner.
Yeah, he just.
And he thought,
when are you running this? Yeah, it's going to be former.
Anyway, the lady called and she's like, "Why are you having him?" I'm doing my job. There's a big news story that's been going on now for months, and the story is that every police department in every major city is controversial. When you have, I think Austin has something around, is it over 2,000 cops, or is that way high? Forget the number of cops. Maybe it's 7,000. I forget what it is. When you have that many people in an organization that has authority, there are going to be incidents where things go wrong. Unfortunately, it's a public job. It's a job that is in the public eye, and it's scrutinized by people. So when you have something that comes up on media, and you have one side of the story, and you have the other side of the story, and frankly, I've seen the video that I've seen, I don't see the guy spitting. But I have cop friends who've told me differently. I'll say this, off the air, and it's not who you think it is, it's other cops. I've had other cops that don't like this fella. I'll say this: the woman that wrote us trying to get him on the show early pissed us off. She wrote a snarky email when we didn't immediately reply to her.
Still mad about that. Livid. I don't.
But we're not going to avoid subjects because they happen to not be something that you agree with. So that's why we're having them on. I think it's a big deal here in town, and I think that APD has had some incidents that have to be covered, and you have to ask questions as to. There's a new one. There's a new video where the guy does spit in the cop's face, and guess what happened to the cop? They suspended the cop because the cop. I can play it later. The cop slams the guy back, gets pissed off, and slams the guy back down on the hood. Oof. I'll say this. I'll say it to Mr. Buehler. I sometimes think that cops should be able to be a little rough when you do something like that. I've said it before. When you run from the police, I think the cops ought to be able to rough you up a little. When you run and put other people's lives in danger. I know it's not constitutional or proper. But that's just an opinion.
But you're not exactly a constitutionalist.
Well, ride with him sometime. But anyway, we'll talk to Antonio. He'll be in here next. You can call and call us. Start the calls now. 973-8300. 973-8300. It may be a few minutes before we get to you because we're going to talk to him. And I'm going to see if somebody else can call in this morning, too. So hang on. That's coming up next on the Dudley and Bob Show. It's 8:17 on the Dudley and Bob Show. Call us at 973-8300. Here are the people of your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. Oh, this is a controversial person in our neighborhood. A person who was accused of spitting at cops. There he is. Hi, Antonio. How are you, man?
What's up?
Have a seat. You're as big as you look on television. What's happening, man?
What?
Settle in. Get those headphones on.
I was going to say, good to see you again, but I guess we didn't actually... We talked to you before,
we talked
right?
To you on the phone,
we talked to you on the phone?
All right.
Right.
In February, I think we talked to you on the phone? You don't remember?
I don't remember.
All right. We can check that, though, Daniel. We did talk to
How are you?
Buehler.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm real good.
Where is the case now? Because I was trying to do a little research yesterday.
Well, we're still waiting for a grand jury to meet.
Well, I know, but I know you were charged. Some of the charges were dropped, right?
No,
nothing was dropped.
No.
Okay, what are the charges against you?
A felony harassment of a public official.
Wow, and you're a West Point cadet, graduate, right?
That's right.
Not a cadet or graduate. You were an officer in the Army.
That's right.
Where'd you serve?
Mostly in Germany. I did a tour in Kosovo and a tour in Iraq.
Yeah. Did you do any combat in Iraq?
I never shot a rifle.
Okay. All right.
I never shot my rifle.
All right. What was my next question? So, so I was watching the different news reports, but this felony is still in place.
That's right.
And when do you go to trial? Do you know?
Don't know.
You don't know?
Nope.
So they don't let you know. They don't give you. I guess when you go, right?
Well, I've been to a bunch of
because I watched this.
dates.
I watched this. We talked about it the day it happened. As soon as we got back from the new year, and I watched this, and I thought surely the charges will be reduced because the video that I see, and I'm I just got to tell you because you probably don't keep up with the show. We walk a fine line. I try to be fair where I can and honest where I can, and I try to be honest about what I see. I've seen the video that the guy shot from across the street. In that video, I don't see you spit. Spitting to me is a motion that you do. Now, if you're talking loudly and spit flute, listen, this entire board is covered with little droplets of spit. Talking causes you to have you expert. What is it? Expert?
Yeah, I don't know what the word is for it. It's gross, and I have to deal with it every day.
Yeah. But things fly out of your mouth. So I don't. But when you say spitting, I think of something intentional, and I don't see it in that video. Now I didn't see before that, and I didn't see after that. And the dashboard video that hasn't been released, correct?
No, they refuse to release anything that would prove my innocence.
To bring people up to speed, because not all of our listeners maybe remember the story, and just to clear me up. You weren't actually. There was two ladies being pulled out of a car. They were being investigated and arrested for DUI. Is that correct?
The driver was behind the car getting a field sobriety test. The female passenger told her friend that she didn't have to take the field sobriety test. And so one of the cops, Robert Snyder, came up and eventually yanked her out of the car, threw her to the ground. The other cop, Patrick Gaborski, joined in. So my friend and I decided to take pictures. She started.
So you weren't in the car with these women?
No.
I never met these women.
Was that your truck that they shove you against?
That was my friend's truck.
It was your friend's truck.
I was a designated driver.
Gotcha. Do you drink?
I drink, but I didn't drink.
You didn't drink that night. So you start taking pictures.
I started taking pictures or
video.
Just pictures.
Just pictures.
Crappy BlackBerry. So then she sees us taking pictures, and so she begs, she screams, she cries, please take pictures, please record this. And as soon as she said that, then I started yelling at the cops, what are you doing? Why are you hurting her? She didn't break any laws. And then Aborski came after me, started pushing me back into the back of the truck, kept pushing me, and then eventually claimed that I spit on him. But a felony for spitting on a public official requires intent.
Now, listen,
it's not spittle.
We got to do all the background here because I want to know. Have you ever been in trouble before?
I've never been in trouble.
Never been in trouble
Except
before.
Commanding officers, but
right. But you didn't have any trouble in the armed services or anything like that? No citations or anything like that?
No.
And you've never been confrontational towards other people?
Have you been arrested before?
I've never been arrested.
Can I tell you something? Because I've had some pushback about having you on. I've had some people tell me, you're not a very popular dude with some city officials.
Well, that's because,
and it's really weird for me. I'm nervous. I'm real nervous because I'm sitting here going, I don't. The video that I see, your arms are up, and the only thing I could say not on your behalf, and this is just from watching 10,000 episodes of Cops, is that you don't immediately get on the ground and surrender. You're up against the truck, and the guy who, if it was just you and him one-on-one and he wasn't a cop, he wouldn't stand a chance to get you. He can't get you down on the ground. Now, that's where they may have you for the resisting.
Yeah, you are intimidating.
Have they offered?
I mean that as a compliment. I'm hitting on you.
Have they offered you a plea bargain?
No, and they know that I won't take one.
Okay. Well, aren't you worried about having a felony possibly on your record? If they came to if they come to me with a misdemeanor and that I can plead down to, I'm probably going to take it like a bitch.
Well, I know that I didn't do it, and there's witnesses who are going to say that all the evidence proves that the cops were lying. I don't see why I should have to plead down to anything, not even to a day of community service.
Do you think they'll come to you with a plea bargain?
No, I think I've made it pretty clear that there's not.
That you want your day in court?
That's right.
You want a jury trial?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I don't trust anything less.
Right.
But unless they
now you've become really active since this, because the other case that happened yesterday, I'm looking on KXC Insight and I see you posting every 15 minutes. The other guy who got spit on. Now, see, that guy actually does spit on the cop, and the cop loses his temper.
And the cop gets suspended for 5 days, and the charges get dropped. So what's the difference here? I don't understand.
You know why? I can tell you right now. It's because you've made a big stink about this whole thing.
Maybe so, but if they didn't illegally detain me and arrest me for something I didn't do, I would have never made a stink.
How much time did you spend in jail?
It was about 16 hours, I believe.
All right. I'm gonna watch.
What color? I haven't ever been here to city jail. What color are the cells?
Miserable.
Is that
They always do like a
is that a Sherwin-Williams paint color?
Sherwin-Williams. They always do a minty green or like a Pepto pink. I've found.
Ugh. How many days did you spend? I'm sorry. My God!
I was only in there for a night.
Are you ready to talk to this guy?
Bring him in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Police Chief Acevedo is here.
I didn't know you were going to come in here.
I thought you might call in here. Is this okay with you, Anthony?
Antonio,
I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to.
Are you okay with this?
I bumped into him last night. I bumped into Art probably 4 or 5 times.
Antonio's like my athlete's foot. I can't get rid of. Every time I turn around, he's right there. I think he's following me.
Was it wait a minute.
If you would stop harassing peaceful people.
When did you run into each other?
He was at the
Obama rally.
At the Obama rally, yeah. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, not bad.
All right. Let me finish finish interviewing him real quickly here.
You're actually talking to this guy?
Mm-hmm. Well, did you hear? Did you see the paper today?
No, let me see.
I've been fired already.
You have?
Yeah, I'm the former host of this show. This show isn't even really happening.
Wow.
This is happening in my head.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
This is the Matrix all over again.
Now, listen. Like I said, from the video that I see, there was no spitting going on. Now, you've done your investigation. How much of this can you talk about?
Not much, other than, we have a process we follow, and every time I see Antonio, hey, you got to fire them. Look, we've done our internal investigation. They're not going to get fired, and I'm sorry. And I tried to explain to him yesterday, sometimes reasonable minds disagree, and so unless we're missing something, we're done with that investigation. And the process is, you have a grand jury coming up, you were saying? I was hearing you on the way in.
Someday.
And so I'm sure it'll come up sooner, hopefully sooner, so you can move on with your life one way or the other. And but I just wanted to come in and found out Antonio was going to be here, and it's really important for people to look. We get videotape, and he'll tell you himself, because I know he videotapes our officers all the time. We get videotape all the time. Just don't get engaged. Don't engage the officer. That's when you start going down that slippery slope.
Did you engage the officer?
I mean, this is a complete distraction. The officer came up to me. He started pushing me. He got in my face. It's all on video. We all know it. I'm sure I engaged him by telling him to stop hurting the woman. That was the extent of it.
Yeah. So anyway, it is a matter for the grand jury to decide, and that's why they're there. That's why we follow the process.
Do you have more video?
We do. We've got video from the police cars. We've got audio from the police cars.
Are you worried about that at all?
No, I've seen the videos. I've heard the audio. It just proves that I'm right. His cops lied, and they refused to fire cops who broke the law.
You keep saying that. That's the other reason I came in. Somebody told me they saw your Facebook where you say I never fire officers, and I would beg to differ. If you go to the Civil Service website, you'll see that we fire and suspend officers on a regular basis.
But how many have you fired for what's the word I'm looking for? For violence. For how many have you fired for overreacting?
For use of force?
For use of force,
I've fired probably 4 for use of force.
Because the paper, I think, said something about 1 or 2 yesterday. Was it the paper or one of the websites?
In the past 2 years.
Well, if it's the paper, then I'm sure it's got to be right. I mean, let's face it, you're no longer here. I'm talking to a 3D version of you.
I guess
if it's in the paper, it must be gospel. We have fired probably 4 since I've been here. 2 for the discharge of firearms, and 2 for slap punches.
Will your lawyers be calling the officers in as witnesses during this trial?
I don't think it's going to go to trial. I don't think it's going to get past the grand jury.
You really don't?
I don't. I mean, it's patently clear. It's vivid.
Do you think it'll get past the grand jury?
You know what? This is Travis County. I don't anticipate. Look, it's obviously it's been reviewed by prosecutors. They see there's enough there to go to a grand jury, and we respect the process.
Can I ask you this though? Are you guys? Is there an axe being around here because Antonio has been so vocal about all this?
No, I mean he was arrested before he started his public
I'm saying,
campaign.
But your tone is different with Antonio than your tone has been with other people that you've addressed in here.
Answer me honestly, though.
What's the difference with my tone?
If I get arrested,
you sound angrier and more dismissive than I've heard you before with anybody.
Be honest, Antonio. Aren't we not pleasant with each other when we see each other on the streets?
Yes, you are the consummate politician.
Thank you. Okay,
I'm not sure that was a compliment.
Here's the guy that goes off, that is constantly all over the TV.
Yeah, but I'm not a politician.
No, I think we would all agree. I think Antonio's probably been a a thorn in your department's side, I would imagine.
You know what? Look, in policing and a democracy, scrutiny is part of it, but you got to follow the process, and the process is he's going to go to the grand jury pretty soon. They'll decide, and
but if he hadn't gone into the media like he did, and right away,
he was arrested.
Don't you think the charges would have been reduced?
No, I think the charges are the charges, and obviously, I don't think that we don't have a say as to what goes in front of the grand jury.
The incident yesterday, the video that came out yesterday, where the officer slammed the guy back because he was pissed, which I get kind of in a way. If somebody spits in your face, well, the guy who spit in that officer's face, has he been charged with a felony?
I haven't looked it up.
It'll be interesting to see if that guy. It'll be interesting to see if that guy if his stays a felony or if it gets.
It's been dropped.
It's been dropped.
Has it? I have. Yeah. There's a backstory behind that I don't want to talk about, but I guarantee you that part of it is that I would assume and I don't want to speak for the DA's office, that the officer's inappropriate response was the reason it was dropped.
Oborski's entire action that night was inappropriate. So was Snyder's.
Well,
and you know it.
But the same DA that dropped those charges didn't drop yours, so I'll just leave it at that.
But don't you guys think that this is good discourse? I mean, you're probably not. Let me just tell you right away. I didn't know if Art was going to call in, and I definitely didn't think he was going to show up.
I wasn't.
So I'm not trying to sabotage you.
He told me he was going to be here.
Okay, and you might be all right.
I did it.
Yeah.
All right. See, and you have to remember. You have to remember. I still see the video. In the video that I see, there's no spitting being done.
That's because there is no spit at any point in time. The only person who believes that there was spit was Oborski. He doesn't even believe it, but you know that he didn't, and you know that I didn't. The DA knows that I didn't. Everyone knows that I didn't, and there's been a cover-up for the benefit of your number one DUI cop.
You know what?
Is he the number one? Is he your best DUI cop?
He's the gorilla.
We don't keep. Well, I know that he's been in that unit for a long time, and he does a very good job of taking.
So if you see a Borsky, don't try to talk yourself out of it. If you've had a cocktail.
You know what? I've seen him stop. I have stopped people where I've called a Borsky over that had been drinking. He's given them FSTs. They've passed. And he's
now, were these people drinking real drinks, or were they drinking girl drinks like you drink?
You know what? Let me just if it's late at night and you're driving, we don't even need to give you FSTs. I already told you that.
Is there a website we can go to where we can find out just exactly where Oborski will be each and every evening, so we can plan our trips accordingly?
I haven't had a drink in 6 days.
You haven't?
No.
Oh my God. Oh, your poor family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I think that grand jury's coming up pretty soon, and then we'll, if they decide to follow the charges, they do, and if they don't, then the process worked and we move on.
Wait, we move on. After I get no billed, you guys are going to charge Oborski and Snyder with crimes, right? They committed crimes that night. You know that.
We are not going to charge Oborski. You need to talk to the DA or the feds about that.
What crime do you think they committed?
They assaulted peaceful people. They filed false charges. Why are you laughing? It's on video.
Well, that's why I'm laughing.
God, this is good.
The cover up, to say that we're covering something up, that we know all kinds of video exists, that we know audio exists, and we know that's going to be released. It doesn't matter. It doesn't add up. As soon as that thing is done criminally, we will be releasing everything, and people can make their own decisions. Listen, I've said it before, and I said it again. People, Antonio, I think part of his issue, he thinks that we don't think people have a right to video. If you believe that, go to YouTube, run the Austin Police Department, do the search. You're going to see hundreds of videos of
but there will be the cop who doesn't want you to videotape him and will let you know very loudly.
But here's the deal. But out of those hundreds of videos and the thousands of times we get videotaped, I know of 2 arrests since I've been here, and that's because people started engaging. Do not engage the officer. That's the one thing that I think we disagree with. You can videotape away, turn it in, file a complaint.
What if a cop not that I'm saying yours would, but what if a cop is hitting somebody with a billy club?
You have no idea what's going on. Videotape it and then go to the DA's office, go to the FBI,
What if you're concerned about that person's life?
Here's the issue. You get involved, now you're putting yourself at risk. If you get involved, you are now becoming part of the problem. If you want to be a good steward and a good citizen, videotape it, go into the FBI, go into the DA's office, file your complaint, go to the police monitor, but do not engage. Because then let's say hypothetically that you get involved and you didn't have all the facts, now you end up yourself in jail. That young lady, what people need to understand is that passenger, the prosecutors, both the county attorney and the district attorney, two different prosecutorial agencies, independent of one another, have all filed the charges.
But they're all,
we'll see what happens.
But Art, those people are all part of the same club.
Those are the same people that dismiss charges on a regular basis before even going to a grand jury. So, what club?
If your name's Jeff Ward.
Yeah, right. No, if it's your name, we don't even have to give us. I've told you that before. But the bottom line is that we have a process we're following, and we're going to let the process take its course.
All right. Can you hang? Because I know he's got to go. But can you hang and take some phone calls? And Art, will you take a phone call or two?
Yeah, but you have to make it quick.
All right. Well, there's one for you, and then we'll take that, and then we'll move on. All right. Lupe's on the phone. Lupe, what's up? All right. That's Harold. Hang on, Harold. My bad. Here we go. Lupe. Hi, Lupe. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Art,
What's your question for Art?
real quick, Art, man, I got a question for you, dude. I was born and raised in Austin, Texas. Always wanted to be a cop all my life, but I caught a felony at a very young age, 17, 18 years old or so. So I've always wanted to know, is that holding me back?
If it was young and it's how old are you now?
34.
Okay, don't tell me 19. That might be a problem. Give our recruitment unit a call and give them and run it by them. There's a good chance that you would be eligible if it's been that long. And if young people do dumb things sometimes.
Okay, that's completely off the topic. But thank you for calling. So, all right,
good luck.
You're going to get out of here. Is there anything you want to say to him before we go? Because I want you to have the opportunity.
I do. First off, I don't have a problem with people with cops getting upset that people are videotaping them. I have a problem with cops who assault peaceful people and file false charges and get away with it. That's what I have a problem with.
Okay.
And secondly, it wasn't that that I interfered and that's what caused this problem to happen. I verbally rebuked these guys for what they were doing. That does not give them any license to come assault me or file false charges.
Well,
so you keep distracting and keep diverting the direction of the conversation.
We'll just let the process take its course.
Can I ask a final question? Is there a possibility the two of you can find common ground?
I think they are right here.
We actually do. And like I said, I don't take things personally. I think that Antonio believes what he believes. I respect his view, but we are a nation of laws and processes, and we're following the process. And we're just like, I respect his First Amendment rights to videotape and, do all that other stuff. I
know, but that's what I mean by the dismissive. It sounds a little like, if he wants to toy around, he can play his little kid games.
The other stuff, I don't know, all the above. But at the end of the day, we do have to follow the process. And if the grand jury decides that they don't want to pursue it, we live with it. We move on. We've had much more serious cases that we've dealt with in the last 5 years, and so we're just going to wait to see what happens. And I told him this yesterday. I said, Antonio, sometimes reasonable minds disagree, and I have a perspective. We have a perspective. He has a perspective as an activist, and I have a perspective as a peace officer. He thinks that it's okay to start engaging and talking to cops and leave her alone. And I can tell you that we have to maintain control of scenes. We cannot have people and tolerate people causing distractions, because when we make mistakes, it can cost us our lives. And sorry, we're going to keep control of the scenes. And that's the one thing that I hope that as you teach people, you teach them to just videotape. Don't engage. Once you start engaging, it's a slippery slope where you might end up in jail.
Right, but you need to start teaching officers not to break the law and not to file false charges.
We do that all the time.
Well, they're not listening to you.
Yeah, and those that aren't listening to me, go look at the Civil Service website. You will see a lot of suspensions.
Aborski is still roaming the streets.
I'm standing on. I'm straddling a sawhorse right now.
Yeah,
I have to straddle the sawhorse,
and it hurts the nuts, doesn't it?
All right, see you, Art. See you later.
See you.
So you ready to take some calls? You ready to take some calls, Antonio?
Sure.
Thanks for coming in, brother. I didn't expect you to come in. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. See you later, man.
Thought you would be.
Take care.
I was going to say something snarky, but I'll shut up.
Will you give at least the chief credit that he? I don't know how long you've been in Austin, but we used to have a police chief that wouldn't talk to anybody in the community or the media. And I understand that you disagree with him. I got to tell you, I lean your direction a little bit. If I'm seeing somebody being hurt, and I think if I think a cop is breaking the law, am I going to say anything? No, because I'm a giant pussy and I don't want to get beat up and I don't want to go to jail. But I lean towards that you ought to be able to say something. I don't know how this is going to all shake out.
Do you? I want a two-part question. It's not a setup, I promise you. But
phones are loaded.
would you agree that you did engage the officer? Is that something you?
I verbally told the officers to stop assaulting this woman. That's the extent of it. Then the cop came to me, got in my face, started
Right. No,
pushing.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it. But so do you regret engaging him verbally?
Well, I mean, from a selfish standpoint, I wouldn't have had to go through all this, and if I could have just sat back and allowed a girl to get beat, without taking pictures or asking questions.
Was she beaten? That involves hitting. Were they hitting her?
Oh, they were throwing her to the ground and twisting her arms up behind her back in a torture move, which we've had a border agent actually get jail time for doing that to an immigrant.
Do you worry that a felony would completely blot your career?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you worry about that?
I do, but they do this to people all the time. Innocent people have gone to prison for less.
Let's take some calls. One woman's been on hold for 26 minutes, so let's go to her phone call on 9. Sarah, you're on the Dudley and Bob show. Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. After that, Chief Acevedo coming in, I have a lot to say, but I'll keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Hey, Antonio, can you hang for another 15 minutes or so? What we're going to do is take your call. We're going to go to break, and we'll come back to all the phone calls. So go ahead.
A couple of my questions, I've been following this case from the beginning, is if Antonio were in the wrong and had spit in this officer's face, why would he be bringing all of this publicity to himself? Why would he be putting it out there? And they have video that obviously everyone has seen, but APD won't release the dash cam video.
Well, they can't. They can't really until the case has been done, right?
Put all of this to rest. I mean, put it out there, get it over with, and expose Antonio for being a fraud. But obviously, they're not doing that.
Who's your prosecutor? Do you know who the prosecutor is?
My lawyer told me. I don't know the name off the top of my head.
All right. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back to some more phone calls. Thank you, Sarah. We have everybody, Jason, Gene, Harold, Thad. If you can hang on through the breaks, which are kind of short today, I will come back straight to you. Back again, Dudley and Bob show, 847. Daniel, the beds are getting a little crispy on me. But Antonio Buehler is here, and we just talked to Police Chief Acevedo, who, and poor Antonio, the chief walks in, and it looked like we had completely pulled shanghaied him. Can you say that anymore?
No, that's actually not very polite.
All right, what would you say? What's the term? That we'd sabotaged him.
You mean which culture could we throw under the bus?
Which culture could we throw under the bus? No, we didn't warn him. We didn't know the chief was going to come in.
It wasn't a setup.
Now,
how about that?
I had sent a text message to the chief saying that he's going to be on. Will you call in?
Yeah, because we wanted him to call.
So we wanted him to call.
Well,
in.
and if you remember last time the chief was on here, Antonio called in and had this discussion. So
I thought it went pretty well. So let's see. Let's go to the phones now because there's people who want to talk to you. We've had a nice discussion off the air. You're going to go with this thing. You're going to even if they offer you a plea bargain for a misdemeanor, you're not going to take it.
No, I'm innocent.
At a risk of felony.
I'm innocent.
All right.
Unless there's some huge
huge
bomb in here, I don't think you're getting
assaulting
convicted.
A police officer? Is that the charge?
Felony harassment of a public official, which means spitting on a cop, which carries 2 to 10.
But does the talking to the cop that's not the felony?
There's nothing illegal about talking to a cop. Nothing illegal about yelling at a cop.
All right, Billy, what's up?
Hey, good morning.
How are you, man?
I am a longtime Austin resident. I've been following this case, I guess ever since it began. And it's something that you referred to a minute ago and the previous caller did. As far as releasing the dash cam footage, every news agency in this town has filed a Freedom of Information request to get that footage. And the APD won't release it, they say, because of an ongoing investigation. And just a comment I wanted to make was that whenever dash cam footage proves conclusively that somebody's guilty, it seems to end up on the news the same day.
That's a good point.
And so why won't they release it? Can't we see and judge for ourselves? As far as the whole ongoing investigation thing, that's a load of crap.
All right. I'm going to play a video I found yesterday.
I'll believe it when I see Obama's birth certificate.
This is one of your witnesses, Antonio.
Who are coming forward. I'm just not one to sit and allow something to be based on an untruth.
Carlos Amador was walking out of the convenience store when he witnessed what was happening to Norma and Buehler. Amador says he was appalled to learn that Officer Oborski had accused Buehler of being the aggressor and spitting in the officer's face.
My field of vision was that...
Can I say something real quick? It looks like they're trying to tackle a tree.
How How big are you, dude?
I'm only 6'2". Oborski.
Yeah, but you're in shape.
Yeah, you're intimidating. You strike an intimidating pose.
Could it also be because you're a long-haired hippie? You think that might be it?
Well, I think that my visual appearance probably led to Oborski acting the way he did.
Yeah.
To the event as I am to you now, and I would testify in a court of law at any level that at no point did Antonio spit at the officer or make any sort of.
Do you have this guy in a safe house right now, being protected 24 hours a day?
He's actually an interesting guy. He's he's a professor.
And, is he?
Yeah, so he's not just some random guy off the side of the street. But he was the.
Are there more than him though?
There's 3 that were not involved in the situation whatsoever that I know. Actually, 5.
How'd you find him?
I went to Facebook, YouTube, or Craigslist, various things. But this guy was the closest witness to what happened that night. Internal Affairs refused to interview him.
Oh, really?
Yep.
All right. Gene, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I wish the best for Antonio, but the facts are that the prosecutor can lead any grand jury right down the path that they want to reach, and he's in big trouble.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you're well, but what about when he gets in front of 12 people who?
Doesn't matter. The prosecutor is the only one that can present evidence.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he may get true billed by the grand jury. I'm just saying once he gets to court in front of 12 people.
That's a different story. But there's like he said himself, there's lots of innocent people in jail.
But you don't think the grand jury is going to file on you, do you?
I think that it would just. I mean, once the evidence gets out and once everyone sees it, no one's going to buy this.
Right.
Unfortunately, I wish him the best, but I believe the grand jury will find him guilty.
Okay, Thad's on the phone.
I feel like
wow.
I hope that. And also, I think you guys will lose your job soon.
I hope that wasn't. So I was going to say, I hope that wasn't the statesman calling because they're predicting all sorts of stuff.
That's fair. I mean, everyone keeps saying that the prosecutor pretty much tells the grand jury what to do, and 99.9% of the time, the grand jury just does whatever the prosecutor says. So I understand why he's saying that.
Yeah. Thad, the chief is gone, but what did you want to say anyway?
Hey, yeah, I've been in Austin for 15 years. I've been following this case because I am very often a designated passenger, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, me too.
The thing I really wanted to, and I'll make this statement since the chief isn't there, but there are about 3 times where the cops involved with this, where their testimony is contradictory. And in Oborski's own report, he contradicts himself twice about the time that he claims that Antonio spit on him. And so really, when I hear him saying he's not going to fire these cops, he's not going to prosecute him, I mean, if it's proven that this guy is lying and he is maliciously, intentionally, falsely accusing a citizen of something that could give him 2 to 10 years, I want to live in a city where that is not tolerated. Mm-hmm. And I would like to.
Could you name me a city in the United States where that's not tolerated? There is none. Listen, man. Yeah, I'm friends with Art. I make no bones about it. But I also tell you, they have a club. It's a thin blue line, and there's two aspects to that. Number one, these guys are putting their life on the line, and you'll admit that these guys put their life on the line at night when they go out. Cops, yes.
I don't think Oborski does. I think.
No,
okay. But in general,
just not talking about personally. Just talking about.
Let's don't get personal. In general, a cop is a low-paid guy who's going out and being a soldier at night.
Well, they're not that low-paid in Austin.
Well, all right.
And Tony and I were both soldiers, and I've got a lot of friends who are cops, and I respect a lot of what they do. But if you're going to falsely accuse someone of a crime, I don't think that should be tolerated. And if a club is doing that, that club has no honor.
All right. All right. Thanks, man. Thanks, Thad. Good phone call, man. Let's go to David. David, you're on the Dudley and Bob show. Bob's not here. He's on vacation. He's missing out on a good little discussion here. What's up?
Hey, guys. Good show.
Thanks.
I guess the thing that we always have to remember is that there are rules. And if Antonio engaged the officer, and if engaging is speaking to them in any way, no matter what happens, it's like the rules are, and we have to follow the rules. We all know we shouldn't speed. We speed. We shouldn't drink and drive. We drink and drive. A lot of us do. We smoke pot. We snort coke. Whatever you do.
Whoa.
Sounds like you're having a good time, bro.
I quit coke 5 years ago, brother.
Yeah. Well, but some of us have, and I haven't. I quit it 15 years ago. But
good for you.
Everybody breaks the law, and when you break the law, you're going to get into trouble. So your odds are that eventually you're going to get caught. And if they say don't,
well, let Antonio respond to what you're saying.
Well, and All right, I'll let Antonio.
Well,
yeah, let
He is our
Antonio
guest.
talk.
I didn't break a law that night. You're allowed to talk to cops. You're allowed to yell at cops when they're breaking a law. The only person who broke a law that night was, well, two people, Robert Snyder and Patrick Kaborski. Those are the ones that broke the law.
But I think the department is saying that engaging an officer while they're trying to make an arrest is breaking the law.
No,
it's not.
It's not breaking the law. They're saying that it's a bad decision. It's not a very smart thing to do.
So there's no law that says that if an officer is trying to make an arrest, that I can't get involved.
You can't physically get involved, but you can sit there and yell.
But isn't that vague law that's sort of like disorderly conduct that interferes? There's another catch-all called interfering with a police officer.
Yeah, we weren't charged with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the law we broke, why weren't we charged with it?
And you're saying if they reduced it down to interfering with a police officer, which probably is a misdemeanor, you wouldn't.
Would you plead guilty to that?
Absolutely not. Why would I plead guilty to a crime that I didn't commit when there's ample evidence that I did not commit the crime?
Has your lawyer tried to convince you to plea down if it comes across?
No.
Okay. All right. And do you still have a high-powered attorney you had back in January?
Jim Sawyer.
Jim Sawyer? Oh, he's good. I loved it when he went down the raft with Huck Finn. All right.
I thought you were going to make a lost joke. Why don't you make a lost joke? It's a little more current reference.
Shut up. I was making an 1800s joke.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, where do we want to go here? Because we got to wrap this up. What are you doing now? You working?
Yeah, I do education consulting.
Yeah?
Yep.
You get recognized on the street now?
I get recognized a lot, especially by cops.
Yeah. Do you go read the...
Is it get uncomfortable?
It's more uncomfortable for them.
Has another cop said anything nasty to you at all?
Yeah, there's one guy, Brian Yarger. He's a pretty nasty person.
Oh, in your opinion, I gotta say, I'm saying this for broadcast purposes.
Yeah,
that's your opinion.
If he looked at you like he looked at me, yeah.
I never can see him. I'm always cross-eyed at that point of the night. Was this downtown? Is this where this was?
This was on the east side. Yeah.
Harold, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up?
Hi.
Well, I think we're missing the point here. The point of this case hinges on the spitting charge, and I liked how the fact that Acevedo danced around the whole spit charge and never said anything about spitting. He said engagement. He kept talking about engagement. In Oborski's affidavit, he said that Antonio spit on him and he wiped his face. Nowhere in that video do you see Antonio spit. Nowhere in that video do you see Oborski react from being spit. Nowhere in that video do you see him react from being spit on. He never did wipe his face. And that is what all this is hinging on. And so therefore, this case, that is a lie. It's a false report. And his own media spokesman, Corporal Hippolito, said to news reporters, that's on the news that you could search, that Corporal Hippolito said that in the video he did not see him spit on Antonio. So therefore, the felony should be dropped. There is no evidence that occurred, and Acevedo never does address that. He talks about engagement and him speaking to these officers, but he never talks about the charge of the spitting, and that is where the felony comes into question, and also the falsified police report that Oborski filed.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Thanks. Is that a friend of yours?
Sounds like someone who was involved with the No Spit, No Wipe video.
Johnny, what's up?
Hey, this dude they called earlier, he asked about, he said something about the Freedom of Information request.
Right.
And that they wouldn't release the footage, even though everybody asked for it. How did they get away with that if that's like federal law?
Well, let me tell you something. I filed a Freedom of Information Act years ago when I was very angry with the chairman of the FCC, who happened to be Colin Powell's son. And you get letters back telling you how much it's going to cost. You get a runaround. They can delay that as long as they want to delay that. It's a federal law, but they don't tell you how long they have to give you that information.
It's a broad law.
And if APD is wanting to sit on this video, and I'm not saying they are, I don't know that, I'm trying to be as neutral as I can here, knowing one of the parties involved. If APD decides to sit on that and stretch it out, believe me, they can stretch it out and then say at some point we let it go. They'll let it go when they want to let it go. That's the way that works.
It seems funny to me how they put guilty people on TV all the time, but then when this vato wants to see the footage, they don't let him.
You are my favorite caller of the day. Johnny used vato.
Oh.
All right, buddy.
Okay, good.
All right, thanks. Well, listen, Antonio, we'll wrap this up. We had some more calls coming in. We could do this all morning long, but I really appreciate you coming in, and please understand that but I thought you handled it well. I think I didn't know you'd run into Art several times, and there's no real personal problem between you two, I would think.
Well, I have a problem with him not willing to go after the criminals within his organization.
What is the possible penalty for you if you get convicted?
2 to 10 years.
Wow.
For a crime I didn't commit.
Did you feel this is the part because I got arrested once I told you off here for throwing candy at a cop. It was a ridiculous, weird night where all the cops were wanting candy off the roof, and then one cop was shining a light, and I hit him with the thing. I got released before I even got to jail. They let me go. But I just remember the surrealness of it. You were sober, so was it just a totally surreal moment? How did I get myself in this situation?
Oh, it was crazy. I just the very moment that he pushed me all the way until when I was put in a car, so they tried to get me to blow into a breathalyzer to try to get me for DUI. I mean, it was crazy.
Did you? You didn't blow?
I blew because I wanted to see a
0.0?
I wanted to see 0.00. And then after I blew, the guy looked all confused, and he said, "Well, you're the first person who's ever blown too hard. You broke the breathalyzer."
Well, no, that's what he said. What
he said? I broke the breathalyzer. So therefore, anyone who got DUI that night that blew into the machine,
wow,
the breathalyzer was broken. So
I want to know what's wrong with it. What human being goes out on New Year's Eve and doesn't drink? That's my question. Jesus, what's wrong with you?
That's why we can't trust you. Deep down, we can't actually trust you because you didn't want to ruin your life that evening.
This is a weird part where we say goodbye. We're still on the air for another 15 minutes. But Antonio, let me shake your hand. Good luck to you, man. Good luck. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. And please let us know what happens, will you? We'll be following it.
All right. Thank you.
And do you have a website or something? Because I know you guys have started an organization.
Well, peacefulstreets.com, the Peaceful Streets Project, peacefulstreets.com, and we just gave out 100 video cameras this weekend. The people are going to go out and videotape the cops. We're hoping to videotape cops.
And now that if they heard the show, they can go, Acevedo said I could do this.
Well, he said not to engage.
No, but we everyone that received the video, we've made the point. We've gone through training. You don't get involved with the police. You don't put yourself at risk. You just videotape. I mean, we're not trying to get people hurt, and we're trying to catch cops doing the right thing. Unfortunately, not all cops do the right thing, and the bad ones we're going to expose.
All right, man. Thanks. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. That is Antonio Buehler with Chief Acevedo. Feel like I brought together the dog shooting guy again. That was fun.
No,
were you? I swear to God, we were totally. We were talking off the air when Acevedo walked in. Our heart sank because we realized we hadn't told Antonio that he was coming in. And I was afraid. I didn't know they had met or talked, so I was like, "Oh, geez, we probably should have warned some people before they came in." But it worked out fine. Worked out good. Good job. How?
It's a very inconvenient story. I don't like it.
No, because
I know parties involved on both sides, and I want it. You know me. You know how my mother, when my sister and I would fight, would make us sit down at the kitchen table and work something out. We weren't allowed to get up until we worked out some kind of compromise. But I think for all kinds of reasons, I just don't know. I don't think it's going to end up. Why can't we all get along? But yeah,
I would be begging for a plea bargain. I'd be begging for a misdemeanor. I know that sounds cowardly, but I'd be begging for a misdemeanor.
I get where Antonio's coming from. He believes in his heart of hearts that he's not guilty. I will always disagree with Antonio on the engagement issue, and just because I don't think that I don't think that officers should be able to say anything to you for videotaping something they're involved in. Just as my personal belief, I don't think he should have yelled anything, but I also get that he has a different background, he has different training than me. He's not. I don't think he backs down or fears a confrontation. He was trained not to. But I think he's a decent human being, and I know that some of our listeners disagree with me for saying that.
Who, on the police chief?
No, Antonio. I think some of our listeners think that he's a rabble rouser.
We didn't get a lot of those calls.
But I also, that's what we talk about. I think sometimes you need the squeaky wheels, the really squeaky wheels, so you can get 3 other wheels in there and you get the car moving. So.
All I know is that the Romney campaign should get Romney in a room with Acevedo and teach him how to answer questions. That's what they should do.